Yo guys, and welcome. So we're now taking a look at the endgame maps one by one, starting with Sabalan Pipeline. Now, have I pronounced that right? I've no idea, but that's how I'm gonna pronounce it, so get over it. I've put together some footage that will hopefully show off the map and its game modes, rather than trying to show off myself as a player, if that makes sense. So the gameplay isn't necessarily going to be 20 kill streaks one after another, as such, although it will still be good, but the main aim is to showcase the map and the map's different areas. Now, I've actually included footage from Conquest, Capture the Flag and Rush modes, so you can really get an idea of how the map works and looks in each game mode, and hopefully you will enjoy that element. Now, I'm not going to talk so much about endgame as a whole just yet, although it will of course be hard not to, but that's going to come in my endgame review probably later in the week or at the weekend. I'll try and talk more specifically about the maps right now, but I'm sure there will be an element of crossover. So Sabalan Pipeline, here it is. Now, this is one of my favourite maps in the new endgame DLC. It is of course the last DLC for Battlefield 3, and this is one of the only snow maps. Well, it's the only snow map in this DLC, putting it alongside Alborz Mountain as the only two in the overall game. Now, this map has a smaller feel to it without feeling too small, and the added bikes make getting around an absolute breeze. And if you're feeling daring, I do recommend getting your bike on the pipelines going over the map for some exciting gameplay. Definitely give that a go. Now, the map is set around a pipeline. Who would have thought that one, eh? Now, the actual pipe section in the middle of the map is very similar, if not the same one that's used in Operation Firestorm, and I guess that's why I have a feeling of this being kind of like a snowy Operation Firestorm. There's parts of the map that I feel are very similar, despite it's obviously got a completely different layout, but it feels in areas like that map. But it also feels a lot like Port Valdez from Battlefield Bad Company 2, if anyone remembers that map. It certainly has similarities of both, with Port Valdez being a snow map as well. That probably draws better similarities. Now, there are fewer designated routes on this map compared to some of the other endgame maps, but of course that isn't really too much of a problem because it isn't limited in Battlefield, and for one, you can take the bikes, will pretty much ramp over anything. A substantial amount of objects can be leaped over, including rocks, making custom routes more than possible and quite frankly recommended, especially in terms of Capture the Flag. Now, coming on to Capture the Flag, this map does have one element that I think hinders the gameplay, and that is the spawn points, or your flag base as you might want to call it. The US base has a large building which is a carbon copy of the L-shaped buildings from Operation Firestorm that you'll find directly in the middle of that map. Now, they have this building surrounding the flag on this particular map. Now, it lends itself quite badly to camping, due to the fact that players will literally just stay in their base, they'll climb on top of the building and just stay on the roof surrounding the flag, making it very hard to get at the flag in the first place. Now, you can storm on in on a dirt bike, but you still have to get off the bike to get the flag. Now, if many people camp on this roof, it makes it very difficult to get the flag unless you have a really organised team. A team maybe that utilises the Z11 scout chopper, maybe to go clear out the roofs. But obviously you've got to be aware that the other team's going to have that same possibility. Now, the opposite base, the Russian base, does not have this overhead watch position around the flag like the US base does, making this flag far easier to obtain in my opinion. Now, in fact, at the end of the video, I actually countered this building by getting on the enemy roof myself and raining hell on the spawning opponents, trying to hold the building, preventing the enemy team from getting on there. And that's the only real way I can see to get that done. If there is enemies on the roof, somebody needs to go and attack that roof and clear it out, so you don't have enemies have an overwatch position, so your team's got a better chance of getting the flag. Now, spawn pointing is something you really need to be aware of in this game mode. In Capture the Flag, especially on this map, you need to be prepared to be killed many times when you spawn. You're going to have enemies attacking your base trying to capture your flag, you're going to spawn in, you're going to get killed, and you're going to be attacking the other base, and enemies going to spawn around you, you're going to get killed. That is the nature of this game mode, and it's something you need to be aware of. So let's talk about how this map looks. Well, as you can see, it does look amazing. I think the snowy element with the rustic pipelines works really well, and in fact I really do have to give credit where credit is due to DICE, because as the DLCs have come along and come through, I think this is the 5th one now, I think the art and overall production of these maps has been amazing. Not just Endgame, but all the ones before as well. The maps have been exceptionally well produced and have all looked amazing. Maybe if we put aside Close Quarters, because I know a lot of people didn't really like Close Quarters and it didn't feel like Battlefield, and I agree with that. That isn't really a Battlefield style of map, certainly not. But then when you look how they've progressed, I mean, if you look at Armoured Kill and Alborz Mountain, that map looks utterly phenomenal. I've never seen a map in a video game look so incredible, and I'm sure a lot of you people will agree with me. Now, I think that's kind of a hard task to get even better. When you make a map like that, how do you go better? And I'm not necessarily saying that graphically they have with these maps, but they all do look amazing, and you can tell that a lot of work has been put into them. Especially, I suppose I have to mention on this map as well that there's a lot of elements that are designed for the dirt bike. So the dirt bike that you get in Endgame, each map has different sections that are sort of jumps. Some maps are more obvious than others. Operation Riverside, which I'll be putting up in a couple of days, has actual sort of wooden ramps going over the water. This is more snowy ramps that maybe aren't as obvious, but they are there, you just need to look for them. And that kind of adds to the excitement of the game, and it'll do a lot more crazy things, and I can guarantee there's going to be some crazy bike videos and crazy things happening with bikes colliding with choppers. This sort of thing is going to clearly happen after this DLC, and I think the map itself, this particular map, is certainly one that feels very Battlefield-like to me. It feels a bit nostalgic in certain areas. It's also worth noting that, just going back to the snow theme, I believe the theme for this DLC is seasons. So this one is the winter map, you'll have a summer map, spring map, etc. So that's why, I think that's what they've gone with this DLC. You see, in the other DLCs, Armoured Kill was very much about large-scale environments, close quarters, close combat. Then we had Aftermath, which was earth-shattered terrain, and this DLC is about seasons and 4 different maps at 4 different seasons. That's meant to be the point. As you would expect, this obviously does feel like winter, but of course it is going to. You put snow on the ground, it's going to feel cold, and it does. So in that respect, they've got this map spot on. I really like the design of the map. It feels nice. The motorbikes do really help it. Overall, it's a very well-made map, as we've come to expect from DICE. So give it a go. Over the next week or so, I'm going to be uploading loads more gameplay footage. I'm going to do the other maps, so we're going to cover all 3 of the other maps. Then probably, as I say, Friday or the weekend, we're going to have like an overall review of Endgame, and maybe some more capture the flag footage. I probably won't touch air superiority, I'm going to be honest. It's not my cup of tea. I'm terrible, utterly diabolical in a jet. I just don't think it's going to be any fun for anyone, for me to do it or for you to watch it, so you're not going to see much air superiority. I might give it a blast, maybe sometime, just for a bit of a laugh, but watch this space. But thanks for tuning in, I hope you enjoyed the videos. Check out the other endgame footage as well, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.